Alright, it's been a long time since we had X-Saber support, one of the very first archetypes in hidden arsenals, and in 5Ds overall that hasn't gotten support for a while, so let's begin. So we start off with X-Saber Purina, which is a level 4 Earth Beast Warrior Tuner with 1700 attack, 300 defense, with each of its effects hard once per turn. The first one being if this card's normal special summon, you can special summon 2 X-Sabers from your deck that is not itself, but they're destroyed at the end phase. This is just absurdly good for any starter because rarely we've seen any low-level starter just give you 2 monsters straight up, and without their effects negated on top of that. And so what if they're going to be destroyed at the end phase? You're going to end up using them as material for your whatever extra deck summon that you're going to choose anyway. So this is a must-run 3 of already just for this effect alone. But the second effect is just an added bonus, because if this card is sent to the graveyard as for synchro material for an X-Saber monster, apply one of these effects. That synchro monster can make a second attack during each battle phase, or it can attack your opponent directly. If you guys don't remember, X-Saber playstyle requires you to either deal damage on your opponent or destroy your opponent's stuff by battle. So depending on which effect you pick, it's either going to beat down your opponent or just make it easier for you to deal damage to your opponent, which could actually be nasty, especially for a big boss monster. But overall, it's already very strong just for its first effect.
And then we go to X-Saber Bruno, which is level 3 Earth Psychic Tuner with 1200 attack, 1100 defense, with the first and second effect both being hard ones per turn. The first one being if this card's in your hand, you can banish one other Earth monster that is in your hand, face up on the field, or in your graveyard to special summon this card. Just very nice for you to extend play already, especially when you can use the graveyard as material. In which we go to the second effect, where when this card's normal special summon, you can add 1 Saber spell or trap from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And yes, you can even combine it with the first effect, which is actually pretty nice because not only it summons spells, but it's also searching, and searching is always pretty nice. In which the third effect is once per turn, during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this resolves, synchro summon using only earth monsters you control, including this card. Basically do the Excel synchro just without the full-on synchros. Most of the time you won't be using this effect, but the fact that you can synchro summon on your opponent's turn can be helpful sometimes, especially just to escape targets. But more so you just use this for the first and second effect because search on summon, on top of being able to special summon itself. And now to the new X-Saber Commander boss monster, Commander Souza Swordmaster, which is a level 10 Earth Warrior Synchro with 2500 attack, 1600 defense, requires 1 tuner and 1 or more Earth non-tuners, and it's always treated as an X-Saber card. Could have added the X-Saber name and archetype, but okay. Anyway, it gets 200 attack for each of your banished monsters, which you will be doing for this deck. With the second effect of when this card destroys a monster by battle, you draw a card. Considering that you can get some extra effects through either from your materials or through some equip spells, this can add some pressure for your opponent. And then the third effect is that once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you contribute 1 X-Saber monster you control and then destroy 1 card they control. Wish this actually negates, because that would be actually pretty nice, instead of just straight up destroying one of your opponent's cards. But the nice part is that you could always tribute itself, and then after that destroy one of your opponent's cards to make your opponent miss the target. Just kind of wish that this actually negates. With the last effect, where if this card would be destroyed by any means, you can banish 1 Saber card from your graveyard instead, which can be pretty nice protection, although keep in mind you are banishing, so you can lose some resources from your graveyard. But luckily X-Saber does use banishment as well, especially since you banish, this will get stronger, as an idea where for each falling comrade, your commander gets stronger. Overall, it's another nice new addition for X-Saber. It's basically a strong big beater that could even protect itself. Unfortunately, it doesn't negate, but it can in a way disrupt your opponent. And finally, to our last card, X-Saber Gottems. Not X-Saber, it's just regular X-Saber, and it's basically a down form of Gottem. So it's a level 7 Earth Warrior Synchro with 2600 attack, 2100 defense, requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-Earth tuners, and each effect is hard once per turn. The first one is if this card synchro summon, you can add 1 Saber or Gottem spells and trap from your deck to your hand, which is of course pretty nice, and once again another one of those big forms that just searches you something on summon. And then the second effect, where if this card inflicts damage to your opponent, you can discard 1 random card in their hand. Here's the battle pressure here for X-Sabers, and this could actually be very disruptive, but at the same time not really, because if you went second, your opponent will most likely already use up their hand. But the third effect is actually can be decent, because when your X-Saber monster is targeted for an attack while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card and then change that attack target to this card, which in a way can protect one of your X-Sabers, and then sometimes could disrupt your opponent to destroy one of your opponent's stuff. Basically the idea is that the fallen warrior protects his allies one more time. But mainly use this for the first effect for the search and then basically extend play from here because it is still level 7 synchro and you could use this as material for other stuff, so it could actually send itself to the graveyard. And so that's it for the new X-Saber support. Funny how we have 2 dual terminal based archetypes that actually showed up in Arc 5, both showing up in a row. And overall it's just cool support considering that it's one of those old archetypes that really hasn't gotten support for a very long time. And was one of the very first synchro archetypes actually, so just seeing them with more support, especially with now a commander, it's just pretty awesome. Just wish that it was X-Saber as well. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.